Welcome to yet another winning edition of the Red Zone. I'm Alex Campbell. North Central football has their first win at home this season, a 70-point margin of victory over the Elmhurst University Blue Jays for the second year in a row. There's plenty of fireworks to discuss from that game, while also looking ahead to the game of the regular season, the battle for the Little Brass Bell against the Wheaton College Thunder this weekend. Head coach Brad Spencer, center Jarod Thornton, and cornerback Nic Rummell join me to talk about both games. But first, let's take a look at the highlights from the most dominant Cardinals performance yet this season. North Central fans had to wait until week 3, but Saturday finally brought the home opener for Cardinals football on a beautiful early fall afternoon. Brad Spencer took charge of his first game as head coach at Benedetti Worley Stadium as his team took on the Elmhurst University Blue Jays, who the Cardinals defeated by 70 points at home last year. Things couldn't have started better for the Cardinals as the opening drive ended with a Luke Lanin rushing touchdown that faked out the entire Elmhurst defense and left him a straight shot to 6 points. The offense quickly got the ball back thanks to cornerback Antoine Walker's first interception as a member of the team after transferring from Northern Illinois, displaying great concentration to secure the catch. A few plays later, and Ethan Greenfield was in the end zone. 14-0 Cardinals in the blink of an eye. Terrence Hill soon followed suit, getting himself a short rushing touchdown as the Elmhurst defense offered little resistance. The next Elmhurst drive offered a rare sight. No, not points for the Blue Jays, but an interception by a defensive lineman, courtesy of Brandon Greifelt, who sticks out a paw and snags the pass from Connor Buck. More good field position and more points for the offense. It's Terrence Hill again with an easy score, this one via a pass from Lanin to make it 28-0 still in the first quarter. Lanin opened the second quarter scoring with another touchdown pass, this one finding leading receiver D'Angelo Hardy, who had plenty of separation and room to get his feet down in bounds. Greenfield then got his customary second rushing touchdown to stretch the lead to 41 before Nic Rummell received a gift from Buck, the easiest interception he will ever get, with 6 points on the end to boot. The pick six puts the Cardinals up 48-0. Next drive for Elmhurst, same result. Another interception, this time for Gerard Williams. Another similar outcome, Lanin to Hardy for another Cardinals touchdown. At halftime, North Central led by 55. The second half featured mostly reserve players for the Cardinals, including running back Joe Sacco, who broke out multiple stiff arms on this run before eventually finding his way to the end zone. The defense still had plays to make as well, as Nick Laird snags an interception to set up more good field position. The Cardinals once again cash in as Jordan Chisholm gets his name on the board with a 5-yard touchdown run to run the point total to 69. One more interception, Jamar Daniel this time picks off the pass, the 6th of the day for the Cardinals defense. And one more touchdown via quarterback Jake Johnson, who puts the Cardinals up 76-0 by jumping over the pylon. Elmhurst would score on their final drive of the game, but it's another 70-point win for the Cardinals in a battle of the birds. North Central head coach Brad Spencer got his first win, first CCIW win, and now his first home win in the first 3 games of the season. But the hurdles keep coming. Wheaton awaits this weekend, and Coach Spencer is here to contextualize where his team are at right now. Brad, welcome back yet again.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
So a lot to take from that Elmhurst victory. We'll start on the offensive side first. 76 points despite 3 turnovers. What did you and your coaching staff take away from that performance? And what do you hope the players on the offensive side of the ball took away from Saturday's game?
Yeah, a lot of positives. Anytime you can rush for over 470 yards, you're going to be happy about that. But I think in our profession, you tend to look at the things you need to clean up for the next week, and certainly we're going to focus on the turnovers and the ball being on the ground. But guys played hard. They played for each other. We were efficient in the pass, even with a couple of interceptions. So those are the things we're going to have to clean up this week if we want to beat Wheaton.
And then a little more specifically, looking at that game in the second half, there's a lot of guys who had an opportunity to show what they can do. Anything really in particular stick out to you from the guys who came off the bench in their performances?
Yeah, really. On both sides of the ball, we had some young guys make some plays with interceptions. Our running backs, again, Darius Bird, Kyle Franklin ran really well late in the game. Jake Johnson at quarterback is efficient. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's looking at. It's just fun to watch the guys play. We got a little bit sloppy there at the end in the fourth quarter, and unfortunately that cost our defense a shutout. But again, we just got to take those things, learn, and then keep progressing for next week.
Speaking of the defense, 6 interceptions in this game ties a program record, and those come from starters, second team, even third team guys contributing with the takeaways. What does that do for a team's confidence to see so many guys make plays on that level?
Well, that's our goal, is no matter who's in, we want to continue to play Cardinal football and make plays. Certainly the defense, only allowing 81 yards was a school record, 6 interceptions. 2 of those 6 interceptions were defensive linemen with Brandon Greifeld and Nick Laird. So that's always exciting to see those guys, catch the football when it's thrown to them. But really proud of our guys, how they played, and now we got to get ready for the real fun one.
And before we get to that, actually, speaking of the defensive linemen, Dan Gilroy told me after the game that the defensive line group was a little disappointed that they only had 1 sack in this game.
Yeah.
But because the reason for that was that Elmhurst was trying to throw the ball as quickly as possible, do those defensive linemen deserve just as much credit for the interceptions as anybody else?
Yeah, it's a tricky thing there, having more interceptions than sacks. I don't know how many teams can claim that. But we're proud of the guys. But yeah, Elmhurst was getting rid of the ball really quick, and 6 times that worked in our favor.
And while the defensive line group is very much just the same as last year, lots of new starters have come in on defense in the linebacker core and on the secondary level. What have you seen over these first 3 games from all the new contributors on the defense and how they've stepped up and grown into their roles?
Yeah, it was great to see what those guys are doing. Certainly BJ week 1, having 11 tackles and being player of the week. We've seen Antoine at boundary corner make some really great plays. It's been great having Julian back at field safety. And then this week we saw Nic Rummell with a pick 6 and a couple other plays. So certainly we have a mix of new faces, but also some old faces, and you don't want to discount Sam Taviani at outside backer. He's as good as they get, certainly in our league, and we think in the country. So a couple of really solid pieces for our defense to continue to build around.
All right, let's talk Wheaton. First, I got to ask, what's your favorite memory as a player from games against Wheaton way back when, and then your favorite memory of this rivalry since you've been on the coaching staff?
Wow. As a player, I never beat them, so I can't say that there's many memories. Although our senior year, we had a chance late in the fourth quarter and just couldn't capitalize. As a coach, beating them in 2005 for the first time in a number of years was certainly a great memory. I remember the 2008 game at their place. We were both ranked in the top 5 in the country. And honestly, last year, it's been a few years since we've beaten them, so to see our guys wrestle that trophy back was really a lot of fun, and we're hoping for the same result this Saturday night.
So Wheaton lost a lot of players to graduation, and yet somehow I think 19 of their 22 starters are seniors. So how do you go about preparing for a team that is a veteran in terms of their class year, but who you haven't seen a lot of before in terms of the individual guys actually making contributions?
Right, and that's kind of how they are. Every year they're going to walk out some really talented young men. They're well coached, they play hard. They always play extremely hard against us and extremely well. So, for us, we got to focus on what their schemes are in all 3 phases and try and beat those, and just put our guys in positions where they can win. But like every year, there's a lot of old kids on the field for both sides. They're going to play really hard for each other and for their teammates and their schools. So we're just looking forward to it. I've got a long week of prep and a lot of work to do before Saturday night, but I know our guys will be ready.
And, on Saturday night, if you win that game, what would it mean to you and the team to be 4-0 to start this season?
Well, it's everything. That's our goal. That's where we want to be. So in a lot of ways, we just feel like that's our standard and that's what we need to do. But I think we have a healthy understanding of what it's going to take to win this week and how it's going to be different than perhaps the last 3 weeks.
It is time, as we do every week, to check the tape with Coach Spencer, looking back at a few plays from the week that was. And we're going to start with, I think, the first drive of the game, and it's the touchdown run for Luke Lanin, where the entire Elmhurst defense goes the wrong way, and I think even I was slightly thrown off by how good this fake was.
Yeah, Luke did a great job here, making his read, and he made the correct read. And a big thing we were focusing on offense this week was finishing that first drive. Felt like against Carthage, we really lost some momentum there by not finishing that drive. So great job by the guys up front, great job by Luke doing their job and making the right read, getting us off to the right start.
And I didn't actually notice until I put this clip together for the show that he had that little pump fake at the end there too to just totally freeze the corner on the near side. So there's like it looks simple, but there's 3 or 4 steps in there.
There are. He's got a couple of reads on that play, classic RPO, and he did a great job reading it out.
So next up, Luke's going to be involved in this play as well. It's his second touchdown pass to D'Angelo Hardy of the day. Just the timing of the route, everything seemed to work perfectly on this pass.
Yeah, we've been working really hard on this concept lately, trying to get the timing right between these two, and I think Elmhurst busted a little bit on the play actually, which created a little bit more separation and opening than maybe we had expected, but the guys executed, and that's what we asked of them.
And then the final play on this week's Check the Tape, your defense did not come under pressure much in this game. The one time they did, though, was maybe on this 4th down attempt for Elmhurst, and Zach Orr steps up from the secondary and makes a great open field tackle.
Yeah, Zach did a great job. We were in man coverage, and they tried to run a little pick play, and Zach has come on. He started the last 2 games at weak safety for us, and he's doing a really good job. He's still learning, still getting better with every single rep, but that was a big play. It was great to see our defense step up on 4th down and make that stop.
Well, head coach Brad Spencer, thanks again for coming on the show, and best of luck this Saturday night in your first battle for the Little Brass Bell as the head coach.
Thanks a lot.
Opportunity is everywhere. It is in everything and within everyone. Your opportunity is at the center of all that we do, so that you can exceed your personal best.
Lots of big plays to choose from in North Central's win over Elmhurst, a very big game coming up against Wheaton, and I'm joined by 2 guys who usually play a big role when things are going well for the Cardinals, and that was certainly true this weekend. Jarod Thornton, Nic Rummell, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having us.
So Gerard, 475 yards for the various running backs for you guys on Saturday. What's it like to be one of the guys who's part of the unit clearing a path for those guys to run through?
It feels good to be a part of the O-line. We got some great running backs in the backfield, and Green E.T. Hill. D. Bird ran hard, Sacco ran hard, Chisholm ran hard, Cal ran hard. We just got a lot of dudes that play hard, and they make our jobs a lot easier. We just got to get them past the line of scrimmage to the second level, and they do their thing. So it's dope.
And then, Nick, a pretty good day for your group as well in the secondary. 6 interceptions, that ties a program record. Is that the most fun you've ever had as a member of the secondary? And then can you walk me through your interception?
It was a lot of fun. Saturday was a great game for our team, for our defense. The goal was to put on a great show for our fans for the first home game. And yeah, 6 interceptions is crazy. It was a lot of fun. You could see on Jerron Williams, his first career interception. Mid-play, I jumped super high in the air. I was super excited for him and his opportunity, and he took advantage of it. And then with my interception, I don't think Elmhurst drew that play up. The ball came directly to me. It felt like I was running the route for them. But if you look back at the clip, that touchdown's possible because of Sam Taviani. He made a great block and allowed me to get to the edge and put in the end zone for our team and for our defense. So it was a lot of fun.
Do your wide receiver instincts just click in the moment that ball's coming in the air right at you?
It does a little bit. I think it's like riding a bike. It never really goes away. And, it wasn't that difficult of a pass to catch, luckily, and, came right to me and was able to, like I said, put in the end zone.
And throughout that second half, we saw a lot of guys, celebrating on the sidelines after, second and third team guys were making big plays. How much fun is it for you guys to watch those guys have the performances like they did in the second half?
It's really fun because those guys work just as hard as we do. They go through the grind just as much as we do, so they deserve it, and they deserve to be out there getting those opportunities and making those plays. So it's really fun to watch them do that.
Yeah, specifically with the guys in both of our position groups, we're in the meeting rooms with them every night. We're on the practice field every night with them. We see how hard they work, how hard they are on themselves. So to see them get their opportunities and take advantage of those opportunities, it's hard not to get excited for them and just see all their hard work paying off.
Your guys' two position groups kind of have the big difference this year in terms of the amount of experience on the team that each group has. Gerard, last year, the O-line had 3 new starters out of the 5 positions. This year, you only have 1 new starter. How's that been different in terms of your preparation and how the year has started?
Yeah, it's been a lot better because last year we had, like you said, 3 guys come in, and that's tough at first because you got to build chemistry as an O-line. We play as a unit, 5 guys as one. So with everybody coming back this year and only having to replace 1 guy, it was easier for us to continue to build that chemistry and just pick up where we left off and just keep the ball rolling. So.
And then, Nick, on your unit, you're the only guy remaining of the 4 starters in the secondary from last year. So what's that experience been like as the senior member of the group?
It's been a lot of fun. It's definitely been a new role, leadership role I've had to step into, being the only returning guy from last year coming back. Having guys like Antoine Walker and Julian Bell who have had college experience definitely makes it a little bit easier. But it's their first time back. For Julian back in the program, Antoine, it's his first time in the program. So there's definitely adjustments and growing pains, but I just hope that those guys see me as someone they can always come to, and my play leads by example for those guys.
All right, let's talk Wheaton. It is Wheaton week after all. What does the battle for the Little Brass Bell, this game, mean to each of you guys?
Man, it means everything. That's why you come here to play at North Central, to play on the national level, and this is what you get up for. You think about all the dudes that came before us and that played in that game and how much it meant to them and how much this program means to them, and it just feeds off into us because it means the world to us as well. We can't wait.
I think Gerard hit the nail on the head, and just to add to it, it's Coach Spencer's first head coach game against Wheaton, so that's on a lot of our guys' minds that we want to get that done for Coach Spencer. The amount of respect and love we have for him, it would mean the world to get it done for him.
I know last year is really your guys' only personal experience with this rivalry, so what stands out to each of you the most from that night last season, and what would it mean to go 2 for 2?
It felt amazing. We were able to win it all in 2019, and that feeling of beating Wheaton at their place and taking the bell back was up there with that feeling. So, it's just an awesome game and an awesome feeling winning that game. So I can't wait to have an opportunity to do that again.
Yeah, so, last year those guys, it was their first time beating Wheaton in their college experience here, and seeing Andrew hold up that bell, that viral picture, it meant the world to all of us, and it would be amazing to go 2 for 2 on them and keep it where it should be.
All right, you guys know the drill. As former guests on the show, we're going to finish up with some quick hits, some fun non-football stuff. First question this week, do either of you have anything in particular that you collect or any keepsakes you keep around?
Not anymore, but when I was younger, I tried my best to collect like every WWE action figure that you can think of. Like I had about 3 or 4 different John Cena's and Undertakers and things like that. And that was just something I liked to do when I was younger. It was fun.
Something that I liked to do when I was young was any college or professional game I would go to, I would just collect the game day programs. And something that's pretty cool in my life is I have a few North Central runs from 2006, 2007 that I had the players back in the day sign, and kind of looking at that now and realizing I'm in that position is actually pretty cool. So I used to collect those a lot.
Would have been funny if you had gone a few years earlier and maybe even been able to get a Brad Spencer signature.
Right.
Still just a wide receivers coach at the time.
Exactly.
Long time back. Mm-hmm. All right, next up, if you had to pick, what movie do you think you have seen the most times in your life?
Movie I think I've seen the most times, probably Remember the Titans. That's a real good football movie. I'm into stuff like that, so I've seen that movie 100 times. And Denzel played that role amazingly.
It's probably the best football movie.
Yeah.
I would say that. Friday Night Lights is right up there too, but Remember the Titans can't really go wrong.
Yeah.
The movie I've definitely seen the most is Rocky, the original Rocky. It's my dad's favorite movie, so growing up all the way till I'm 22 now, I've seen it hundreds of times. Definitely top favorite.
So you guys have mentioned growing up in your answers to both of the first two questions, but speaking of which, when you were a kid, what was your answer to the question, what do you want to be when you grow up?
For me, I wanted to be a chef, if not football. I mean, I love being in the kitchen. And, you know, I'm really a grill master, I would say. I like to be out there on the grill often, whenever I can be. And yeah, that's just something I love to do. Cooking up burgers, ribs, whatever I can do it. I can do it all out there. So that's what I wanted to be other than a football player.
If you had to say, like, what's your personal specialty as far as like what's the one thing you think you cook best?
One thing I think I cook best right now, I would say some ribs. I just started those this summer, my first time making them, and I made them like 5 times over the summer because that's how much I enjoy doing it and how much everybody liked them. So I would say ribs on the grill.
Nick, how about you?
Other than being a football player growing up, I really wanted to be a lawyer. I don't really have a specific reasoning why. It's just my mom always says if she could go back in time, she'd be a lawyer, and she said that forever. I took a crime lawyer type class actually in high school, and I loved it, and I kind of fell in love with those crime lawyer shows, I guess, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I think I can put up a pretty good argument in a court trial, and if I could go back in time, maybe that's what it would be.
Do you think you'd still go to law school, maybe even like get into like player agency or something?
I mean, I guess it's always been a thought. I'd probably not, to be honest, but as a kid, it was just something that I was always really interested in. Didn't have the perfect reasoning why.
Hey, you don't have to have a reason. Again, it's just could be something you want to do, and it's cool to see. I know the cooking's still going through, and hey, the football's going all right at the moment too. So nothing wrong with sticking with that right now. Exactly. Big game this weekend against Wheaton. Nick, Gerard, thanks so much for taking the time and coming on the Red Zone.
Yep,
thank you.
NCTV 17 is the place for all Naperville area high school football action, covering all 6 local teams. Whether you're a student athlete, parent, or just a fan of the game, stay on top of what's happening in your hometown high school football scene. Sign up for Football Friday today to get all the action delivered straight to your inbox on Saturday morning. Subscribe for free at nctv17.org/subscribe.
It's time for this week's Red Zone play of the game. In a game with 11 touchdowns and 6 forced turnovers, there was a lot to choose from. But you can't overlook a pick 6, even if it was a fairly easy interception for junior cornerback Nic Rummell. With the Cardinals in a zone defense, Elmhurst quarterback Connor Buck throws it right to Rummel, who shows off his skills as a former wide receiver on the catch and run for 6 points. Certainly a play and a game worth celebrating for the Cardinals secondary. And that's this week's Red Zone play of the game. That is that for this edition of the Red Zone. Thanks to Coach Spencer as always, and to Gerard and Nick for coming on the show. A reminder that Saturday's game against Wheaton is under the lights with kickoff set for 6 p.m. on NCTV 17 and NorthCentralCardinals.com. Hopefully you can join Grant Sabo and I for the battle for the Little Brass Bell, and of course for the Red Zone next week to break down the biggest game of the year. But for now, I'm Alex Campbell. Thanks for watching.